I'm going to discuss the 1995 movie Friday, and there will be heavy spoilers, but the movie's almost 30 years old, so if you haven't seen it by now, sort out your fucking life and get on board. And I'm also going to say that Friday is one of my favorite movies, possibly top 10, but I'm going to present the case that Craig, not Debo, should have gone to jail at the end of the movie. And before I say that, I'm also going to say Debo's a piece of shit the entire movie. I'm not cheering for Debo. I'm going to cover all of his crimes too. We'll start with Red. We see the exact moment in a flashback where Debo steals Red's bike. Because up to that moment, and this is admitted by Red, Debo was only borrowing it. When he asked for it back, he said, "Can I get the bike? You know, the one you borrowed." After which Debo puts Red in orbit, which is assault, and then said, "My bike, punk, that's theft." Now, neither Red nor his father alerted the authorities and reported the assault or the stolen bike, because we see Debo riding the bike later on. Now, we flash forward. Debo snatches Red's chain. Does Red call the cops? No, Red cries in the car. And later on in the movie, once Craig does finally knock Debo the fuck out, Red takes back his bike and his chain, so there's no evidence of any of those crimes, physical or reported. Debo's still an innocent man in the eyes of the law. Now let's move on to Stanley. We see Smokey and Debo break into Stanley's house, and when they come out, Debo tells Craig, "I got about $200. Then we see Stanley go in the house and come back out, tell them to stay off his friggin' grass. At no point do we see a cop car show up after that. And remember, this film is mostly Craig's porch, Craig's house. At some point, if Stanley would have called the police, they would have showed up to ask, "Did you see anything? Were you involved?" None of that happened. So either Stanley doesn't know he was robbed at this point, or he's going to eat $200. And judging by Stanley's character, he's not eating $200. And then later on, after Craig knocks Debo the fuck out, Smokey steals that $200 that Debo stole to pay off Big Worm. So the cops aren't going to find that on him either. Then we move on to Felicia and Debbie. We see the aftermath of Debo's beatdown of Felicia, and he admits, "She was going through my stuff." But this is 1995. There are no cell phones. No one's recording this, and you don't see anyone run in the house and get on a landline. So then Debbie gets in Debo's face, and Debbie gets a big ass fucking bitch slap. And again, no recordings. No one calls the police. This isn't reported. Now, at this point, we get to the meat and potatoes. Craig pushes Debo. Now, we're not going to nitpick. It is assault, but it's not. Who cares? Now, both Debo and Craig are armed. Craig's got a gun. Debo's got a knife. Debo pulls his knife and hands it to Ezell. Now he's unarmed. And then Craig pulls the gun and then eventually hands it to Pops. The second he hands the gun to Pops, he steals on Debo. Craig starts the fight. Craig lands the first punch. Debo, at this point, is defending himself. Now they go back and forth, and Debo throws Craig on the ground. Craig comes up with a 2x4, peppers a few shots on Debo. They fight some more until Debo basically knocks Craig out, but to a point where Craig's not fighting back. At that point, Debo drops Craig, turns around to the neighborhood, starts talking shit, which is First Amendment free speech. He's not doing anything wrong. He's not beating on Craig. He's not trying to murder Craig. Craig comes to and fires a brick into Debo's face. Now, I don't know if that's assault with a deadly weapon, but it's pretty fucking deadly to me. Possibly attempted murder. And then Craig also smashes a fucking trash can over Debo. And eventually does knock him the fuck out, as they say. Now, I didn't see anybody go inside to call the cops for this fist fight in the street, so I assume the cops showed up for the drive-by that happened earlier. And somehow, at this point, the neighbors had to all get together and conspire to put Debo in jail with false police reports. What'd they say? The police get their Debo's knocked the fuck out. What'd they tell the cops? Debo beat the shit out of Craig, and then to celebrate, smashed himself in the face, knocked himself out, and before he passed out, he put the knife on his chest. There's no evidence of any crimes. No one's reported anything all day. Debo, in the eyes of the law, is an innocent man. So is there a law in California that you get 4 years of prison for getting your ass kicked by an armed assailant? I don't know. Maybe there is. It's California. Nonetheless, in the end of all of this, Craig should have gone to jail, not Debo. The police arrested an innocent man and let a attempted murderer go home and go to bed and get the girl. Now, if you stayed all the way to the end, thank you. And if you know anyone who likes Friday, please share this with them so they get a new perspective on the entire show. If you didn't watch to the end and you don't share, then I hope Craig smashes you in the face with a brick and you go to jail.